is a non-profitable organization and the umbrella mother body of all Islamic organizations in Zambia. Established in 1987, the Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia is engaged in overseeing the smooth running of all Islamic affairs in Zambia. The Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia works in partnership with Dubai charity organization, DCA. It provides the following for the Zambian communities: distribution of wheelchairs, drilling of boreholes, construction of orphanages, construction of mosques, distribution of clothes, sewing machines, to mention but a few. The Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia. Understanding Islam and Muslims. What is Islam? Clear your misconceptions on Islam and Muslims. Topics related, connected, and in line with Islam. Get your answers every Wednesday at 18 hours on Live Radio 97.3. Understanding Islam and Muslims. Brought to you with the compliments of the Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia. Good evening and welcome to Understanding Islam. This program comes to you every Wednesdays at exactly 18 hours. And of course, tonight is yet another night where we do get meeting with you, our dear listener, into trying to see how we can understand Islam. In the studios, I'm not alone. I'm with Sheikh Isaac.
Good evening, listener, and may the peace of God be upon you.
Good evening to you and yours. My name is Yesani Jose. I'll be your presenter for this particular evening as we do get understanding another topic tonight. Remember that your participation is very much welcome. This program is for you out there, dear listener. You could be just listening in and you're not a Muslim. You too can also participate on the program. And of course, our Sheikh has been inviting a lot of people to come to on the program, the clergy as well, to come through. So if you feel you can have, this is your opportunity, a platform, you can take our numbers, and of course at the end of this particular program you can talk to the Sheikh and you can make arrangements into how you can also be participating on this particular program. If you're a clergyman out there, a pastor out there, and you want to come and appear and share some of your insights on some of the topics that we have all the weeks that we do get bringing you right here on Live Radio. We also have something amazing where a lot of people are interacting during the week.
Yeah, we've got the Understanding Islam WhatsApp group, and there's a lot of interaction in the group, and anybody can join if you want to understand Islam. Maybe the 1 hour that we have on the studio for the entire week is not enough. There are so many questions that people have been asking and interactive. You can simply send a message by asking us to add you on 0976 130 177 0976 130 177. That's the WhatsApp number, the interaction number, whereby we've got WhatsApp groups that can help you assistance in understanding some of the things that you wanted to understand, but you didn't have an opportunity to ask on the live presentation.
There you go, dear listener. But tonight on the program, if you want to get interacting in the studios, the two numbers for the studios, get a pen and take down these two numbers that we'll be using for you to get calling in on the topic for the evening that we haven't yet introduced, but that's 0977 624270. That's the number for the studio. That's 0977 624270. Or you can get us on our live call when we do get officially opening up the lines on 0211. That's 0211 295390. Sheikh, tonight we look at the purpose of creation.
Yes.
So many people have got so many ways and theories in which man originated. According to Islam, to start the ball from the top.
Yeah.
What are we talking about when we say creation?
Creation, obviously, when we talk about something like creation, it means there's somebody or there's a higher authority that created it. So there's the creator and the creation. And that's why in this evening we have to look at the purpose of creation, which is a topic that puzzles every human being. At some point in his or her life, everybody at some time or another ask themselves the question, why do I exist? Or for what purpose am I here on earth? Why was I created? There must be a purpose why we were created. But we need also to ask ourselves, that's why we have this topic, especially on this holy month of Ramadan, so that people can understand why they were created. We can understand why we were created. You find that many people don't know even why they exist. We live like the wild animals. Some people live like animals. Isaiah chapter 1 verses 3. God says that the donkey knows his master and the ass knows his owner's crib. But my people do not understand. My people do not know. That is why we need to understand. We need to know our Creator. We should be better than animals, which have not been given the common sense. We have it. But were we created? Like, let's say, for example, let me just put some things as an example. Were we created, if somebody is a drug dealer, was he created just to deal in drugs? If you're a politician, were you just created to be a politician and do some politicking? Say this party is this party is that, this party is not good. There are some of us who like football so much. Like for me, I like football so much, and I'm still feeling a bit beaten from whatever every Zambian knows. But anyway, we still are the champions of Africa. At least I've got some encouragement. But was I created just to like football? Are we just created to be footballers? Are we just created to be football fans? We find that some people love football to the extent some of them even they can take away their own lives or somebody's life because of supporting a team. You find that there are some people, they have committed their lives into drinking. They are drunkards. He drinks every day from Monday to Monday. Were you created to drink? We should understand. Was I created to be just a drunkard? Look at it. Somebody you find that maybe does hard labor the entire day. He's sweating. But then in the evening, because they're doing some piecework, in the evening goes and wastes it all of it on drinking and becomes very useless. Starts throwing insults. Some people even don't sleep at home. They sleep in trenches. Were you created to sleep in a trench? Were you created to actually lose your mind just because of what you took? You find that there are some have made their lives, they say that like the prostitutes. You are not made a shop. You are a human being, for heaven's sake. You find that other people are now going back home from work. But there is somebody who is waking up, going to open a shop, a mobile shop. I don't have to talk about which kind of shop because it's a self-service. Somebody comes, it depends on how much you have to buy the products. Were you created to be bought? Were you created for those services? You find that there are some people, They are just lost into themselves. They don't even know exactly why God created them. They don't know why they are here on earth. Somebody maybe is a rich man. He has decided to build buildings. The entire Lusaka, every street you go, you'll find that he has a building. Why you just created to be a builder, and that is it? Is that the purpose why God brought you here on earth? And that is why we are looking at the purpose of creation. Why were we created? Why are we here on earth? Why is everything here on earth? But especially, why us human beings? Why were we created?
How important is it for us to ask such questions? Like, for instance, purpose of our creation.
Yes, it's very important because, for example, I have a mind, you have a mind, you've got the willpower to choose between right and wrong. That is what God has given us, the willpower to choose between right and wrong. You cannot compare yourself with a chicken which doesn't know whether this is right or wrong. You'll find that if a chicken sees something that is dangerous, instead of running away, it makes noise going closer to that thing because it doesn't have a willpower to choose between right and wrong. But for us, we have been given that willpower. We've got religion. You find that some are Christians, some are Muslims, some are Hindus, some are Buddhists, some are Rastafarians, some are anything, name it. People have got the thought of religion in them. We've got a religion. This means that there is a deity that is worshipped in each and every religion. Now, unless we know the purpose of creation, we cannot know the right way of worship. Because we need to know our Creator. We need to know the kind of worship we are doing. There are some people who actually have declared themselves, like the Illuminati, the Freemasons, have declared themselves that they want to worship the lawless God, because the lawless God is the devil, whereby you cannot sin. Whatever you do, it's not sinning. Why are they doing that? Because they do not know why they were created, and they do not know their Creator. But if I and you, whoever is listening, we know who created us and why we were created, even our worship life shall change, our faith shall change. We shall seek the Creator more than we shall seek our own glory and our own fun in His creation here on earth.
So there you go, dear listener. Remember, you too, if you want to be a part of this particular edition, it's 0977 624270 and 0211 295390. The numbers again, that's 0977 624270 and 0211 295390. How were we created?
How we were created, according to the scriptures, God created us from the clay. If you look at the Quran, chapter 15, verses 26, and also we have it in the second chapter, which is chapter 2, we are told that we are created from clay. And it's also from the Bible. We find that according to the biblical account, we are told that God said, let there be light, let there be this, let there be this. Everything else was created by the word of God. But when it came to man, He created man from clay. That one is written from both the books. The others were created by the word. But we are created, and not only created, according to Psalms, we are told that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Then even in the Quran, we are told that we are created in the most wonderful design. But then because of our own, we are now become the worst of all the other creatures. Because of rebellion, how we forget the purpose of why we were created. That makes us even worse than other creatures. Like just the example I gave from the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah says that a cow knows its master. Look at somebody, maybe if you know where they keep cattle. The shepherd has specific names for each and every animal. And when he calls, that animal will know that I'm the one being called. But God is busy trying to direct mankind to Himself, and you are busy going to drink. We are busy waiting for football matches when it's time for worship. We are busy looking for political favors. We are busy being cadres. We are busy being politicians. We are busy being contractors. We are so busy for God that we don't even have time with Him. We don't even have time to remember that He created us for a purpose. For example, even a child, when they are doing their toys, they are building those toys from clay and other things. They have a purpose for creating, for building that thing. It's for their own pleasure. Now, why did God create us? That is a point that we actually supposed to determine. Because why did God create man? It must first be determined from which perspective the question is being asked from. From the point of view of God, it will mean what caused God to create human beings. While from the point of view of men, it will mean for what purpose did God create humans? And both of these points just go back to the same question. Why do I exist?
In the Bible, there is a story of Adam and Eve. According to the Quran?
According to the Quran, this is the story of Adam and Eve. There's no contradiction about it. The creation, the first human being Adam, the first the first man being Adam, the first woman being Eve. That is the same account in the Quran. And this is whereby I need to mention a bit that the creation that was mentioned in the Bible is the same that was mentioned in the Quran. What we differ and what makes these differences is the theories that preachers bring about, but not what is written. For example, many people from, maybe let's say from the Christian side, would like to assume everybody else was created, but Jesus was a miracle because he had no mother, he had no father, but he had a mother. But now when you come to the Islamic perspective, we see that we've got four kinds of creation. The first kind of creation, which is also reported in the Bible and in the Quran, is that of Adam. Adam had no parents. You cannot call Adam the son of man. He's just Adam. He's not having a father. He doesn't have a mother. He was created. Directly God created him. Then we've got the second kind of creation. That is that one of Eve, which is also a miracle like that one of Jesus. Eve has got a father. She originated from Adam. But Eve doesn't have a mother. That's a miracle. People never look at that. They only look at Mary and Jesus. You forget about Eve. How did she originate? According to the Bible. Now, the third kind of creation is now that one of Jesus. He had a mother, but didn't have a father. Now, if you look at the two, Eve is the only woman or the only human being that had a man, was produced from a man without a woman. Jesus is the only human being that was produced from a woman without a man. This is, God was making that as an equal. It's not like saying that now because Jesus has a mother without a father, now he's more special. What about the woman that has a father without a mother? And then there is me and you. We have both parents, the mother and the father. So this is actually the four kinds of creation. That's how it is. The Bible talks about them, the Quran talks about them, and there's no contradiction about it. It's only our understanding that differs.
Ultimately, one question that is just outside there in the box. Ultimately, like you did say, when something is created, it's got a creator.
Yes.
And of course, like products that we buy have a manual book,
Yes.
something that should be followed. But my question hence here is, why is it that man who was created seemingly here has got so many manual books, things that they should live by? The Quran, there's the Bible here, and so many other religions that follow. Why is it the case?
You see, the problem is not with the creator or the manual. The problem is with the creation. For example, somebody made the cell phone, gave us a manual of how to use the cell phone, and tells you should not put it in water. Now, if you decide to go and bath with the cell phone, you don't blame the person who made the phone, or you don't blame the manual. You blame the owner of the phone. Now, let's come back to our case. We are the creation. Now, there's a manual that we have been given, which is the scriptures. For us Muslims, we believe in the Torah, or the law that was given to Moses. We believe in the Zabur, or the Psalms, which was given to David. We believe in the Injil, or the Gospel, which was given to Jesus. We believe in the Quran, which was given to Muhammad. And we also believe in the other scriptures, which were revealed to the other prophets. Now, this is the right manual that we are supposed to be following. It's a manual for us. If you follow it, you've got no problem with anybody. I'm just going to give you an example. Both the Bible, like in the book, in the times of Moses, it says that you should not, in the time of Moses, it says you should not commit adultery. That is in the Ten Commandments. Then, by the time Jesus comes in the Gospel, he says, whoever looks at a woman with the lust of eye has already committed what? Adultery. Strengthening the previous manual. Now, in the Quran, chapter 17, God comes and tells us, you should not even draw closer to anything that will make you commit what? Adultery. Strengthening the previous manuals. Now, let's take the person now, the created one. You'll forget about the manual. It told you do not commit adultery. Do not look at a woman with the lust of eye. Do not even go close to anything that will make you commit adultery. You decide to overlook the manual. Which other manual are you going to read? You're going to read another manual from the doctor telling you now you have to live on antiretroviral drugs because you could not follow the previous manual. You have to live on drugs that have to treat you because you got some STI, sexually transmitted infection. This is the creation. You leave the manual, there's consequences. God says that you should not do this. You do it, you'll find there will be consequences. I've just given you an example like that of immorality. If God says do not commit adultery, if you commit it, you've got STIs waiting for you. You just overlook the manual. Like for example, if everybody could follow the manual, today we could not be having the court of laws. We could not be having prisons. Because people could be living righteous life. Today we are having a problem because we left the manual. Some diseases are coming because we left the manual. If you look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, God is talking about all the things that will follow. Will follow us if we follow the law. If we don't follow the law, His law, He's talking about all the calamities that will find us. So it's upon us to choose whether we are going to follow the manual which is written, the written word of God, or whether we are going to follow what people are doing, or whether we are going to follow our own pleasures. Like for example, I will just give an example of a drunkard. The manual tells you do not drink. It's from the works of the devil. Somebody decides, no, I leave the manual aside, I'm going to drink. In the morning when you are leaving home, your children, your wife, knew that dad is going to work. But in the evening, because you left the manual that told you don't drink, you went and drank, an animal comes back home. Everybody goes into hiding. Why? Because you come back like an animal, insulting everybody, beating up everybody. Because you left the manual. But if you continue the manual, which is the scriptures, you won't have a problem even maintaining your family.
Okay. So the lines are open now. You can get in touch with us on 0977 624270 and 0211295390 on trying to understand Islam. And of course, we're doing just that tonight. We have a message here in our box that's saying, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you all in the studios? This is Bashar Sherki. Can you go deep on the creation of mankind? Was God with anyone when He was creating all these things?
Okay, actually I was going to get there. God wasn't with anyone. The Bible doesn't say that He was with anybody. Although I know people are going to quote something like Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 when God said, let us create man in our own image. But you forget that in the same verse says, God created man in His own image. That is majestic plural. When God uses the plural, He's not saying that we are many. And if at all somebody might think that whoever God was speaking to was Jesus, we should remember that Jesus came in the New Testament, over 5,000 years after Adam. He came, and He came through Mary. And Mary is actually a great-great-great-granddaughter of the previous, the patriarchs that were there before Jesus. So God was not speaking to Jesus at that time. He created Himself because he is the creator, and everything he created because he has the ability to create. And we find that indeed the creations of the heavens and the earth are greater than the creation of mankind, but most of mankind do not realize. So we cannot say that Jesus was part of the creation, or God needed assistance from anybody. For him, when he wants to do anything, he just says, in Arabic we say kun fayakun. He says be, and it becomes. Like when he created Adam from the soil, he just told him be, and he was. When he wanted Jesus to be in Mary's womb, it was just a command of his word. It's not about him looking for assistance or looking for some assistance to do the creation.
Okay, so that's 0977 624270 and 0211 295390. Okay, Sheikh, you can continue.
Now, as I continue, we find that the Creator, when we look at it from a deeper perspective, we find that the creation is fundamentally the consequences of the divine attribute of being the Creator. A creator who does not create is something of a contradiction in the terms of the word creator. This is not to say that God needs his creation. God is free from all needs. It is creation which needs him. But as the greatness of a writer becomes apparent in his writings, the perfection of the divine creative attributes is manifest in the creation of the Creator. So we can only know his creation by looking at, we can only know how great the Creator is by looking at his creation.
Hold your thought there. Let's see if we can get someone tonight. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
My calling.
You can try to call us again. It's 0977 624270 and 0211 295390. Those are the hotlines for this particular edition. Another one here in my box saying, hello, Mr. Jose and the Sheikh. Thanks for adding me in the group. This is Ben here. And I just want to ask, according to the Quran, how did sin enter the world? Because Christians, we believe that it entered through the day when they were tempted to eat the forbidden fruit.
How did sin enter the world?
Okay, just hold your thoughts. So that's the first question there. How did sin enter the world? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Who are we talking to tonight?
I am talking to Pastor Blanca.
Okay, could you kindly speak up and give your contribution?
Yeah, no, I've been hearing from the explanation about how God created man. Are you getting me?
Very loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, you know, you must understand as a Christian, the creation is a mystery. You hear that word he was saying that when man was created, he was created from the soil. The Bible doesn't say that. He was formed from the soil, from the clay, but in the beginning, first God created man in his own image. And the image of God is the spirit, not the body. Okay? Then he formed what he created, then he had to put in the body. That's where my brother there is saying that he created him from the clay. But he said that which he created, then he put in the soil which he formed. So you understand where now the deeper thing. Yes.
Okay, is that the only contribution you're making tonight?
Yeah, then also I wanted to contribute to my brother there, where we find the difference. Because you see that the one we are talking about, Jesus, John chapter 1 says that in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And that Word became flesh. There's a Logos which came from God, God the Spirit. That Logos is the one which we call Jesus, which became flesh. Mary was used just as a carrier to carry that Logos. So that's where you should go deep. That's a mystery of creation.
Okay.
I'll leave it there for now.
Sin entering the world, the issue of creation of a human being with clay. Let's see if we can get one more. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah. Boss, muri bwino
ise tibwino muri cyane
nyiri bwino abwanji mnaimwe mu studio
Bwino. I thank God.
Ndine Kefas nili kuchaisa.
Chabwino Kefas mungapase contribution yano?
Chili na tamvera bwino ya mene mwatiretera lero ya Mulungu. Manje wisha bari mu studio muri na Bible pa fupi.
Sheikh, do you have a Bible close?
Just say the verse. The Bible is in the head. You can read it. Don't worry about it.
Nifuna kulivesa mimi nifuna nikupaseni.
Kindly give it to the Sheikh.
Nezo kanza kwati mungapezeka na chani na Bible. Deuteronomy 23 verse 1. Mwani verse saka? Deuteronomy 23 verse 1. Mwamene kambile kamba kuti ina na Bible manje Bible ina hapa ikamba niyolembiwa muchikaunde manje kaidi ingakambeche muchinyanja hapa pangono che mwamene yolembe wai hapa niyolembiwa kuti ijamene bachita saka msizi ni chani jai ichamene bacho kumuna icha hanzeni Deuteronomy 23 ikamba kuti muntu ojubiwa kuwamuna tafu niko ngena mu mpingo ya Mulungu tafu niko peze kapo pajani pa guru ya Mulungu mwayonaka so koji ija njololedwa mwamene bamachitira bija kujua muwamuna nzeni kwa ndo peze kafuti pakati pa mpingo wa Mulungu peze kana abantu ba Mulungu paja because Bible apa ilesa so apo mukamba po bwanje nezo funga timwe namwe muni na Bible nzatu mafuti niko na muni yanka hapa nzatu mafuti ndiko.
Okay, Mbili, on issues of circumcised males, wasn't Jesus circumcised?
I know the Deuteronomy 23:1 it talks about not circumcision. Deuteronomy 21:1 if I quote it the way it says that no one whose testicles are crushed or whose male organ is cut off shall enter the assembly of the Lord. It doesn't say no one who is circumcised. The Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 17 verse 9, it says that this is my covenant that you shall keep from this generation, from Abraham and all the generations that shall come after. Every male child shall be circumcised, the foreskin of their male organs, foreskin. But the one in Deuteronomy 23:1 is talking about testicles which have been crushed. This one I can say castrated in the language we can understand right now. Or whose male organ is cut off. It's completely cut off. It's not there. Circumcision is not cutting off the male organ. So we should not take it as circumcision here. Jesus in the book of Luke chapter 2, he was circumcised on the 8th day. And all the prophets in the Bible were circumcised. So circumcision is different from crushing the testicles and cutting off the malehood. And the person also had him went up to verse 2 of the same thing, whereby saying anyone born of a forbidden union. The current language that we use is a bastard should not go into the congregation of the Lord or the assembly of the Lord. That one is how the Bible puts it. For me, I cannot blame the child. The child is very innocent. The parents had the problem. They did not wait until they got married. This is a very innocent child. Although that's what the Bible says, that a bastard should not go into a holy place. Now, if I ask how many bastards today do pray and do all these things, that's a question that will sound somehow rude, and maybe it might not even receive the answers. But anyway, our brother was asking about that. I think I should touch a bit on what Ben had asked and the other pastor. But for this one, it's not about circumcision. It's talking about something else. Circumcision, according to Genesis chapter 17, verse 9, is an everlasting covenant that God made with Abraham.
So in other terms, a circumcised person is not the one being referred to. In
Deuteronomy 23 is not about circumcision. It's talking about crushed testicles. I don't think if that is circumcision, or a male organ that is completely cut off. That is not circumcision. They are two different words. Circumcision and cutting off the entire organ. That is very different. And God cannot have forgotten when he made the covenant in Genesis chapter 17, verse 9, whereby he's telling Abraham about keeping the covenant. And maybe I quote it, and God said to Abraham, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you, throughout the generation. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your offspring after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. Have you heard the difference? There's circumcision and male organ being cut off. These are two different things. And you shall be circumcised. He was very specific. God, when he was talking, if you look at Genesis 17 verse 11, you find he was very specific. You shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. Even what should be circumcised is very clear in the Bible. And it was a rule, it was actually a covenant between God and mankind. And if you read in the book of Galatians chapter 2 verse 7, it tells us that the gospel was given to the circumcised as Paul was given the gospel to the uncircumcised, which is not the topic of today. But if we start talking about circumcision, it's a whole topic. Because people are not circumcised and say they believe in the Bible. I wonder which covenant you are keeping, because God insisted on it very much in the Bible. So if somebody is not circumcised and believes in the Bible, you need to move a step higher and follow what the Bible really says. Now, if we go back to how did sin enter the world? Unfortunately, Ben, according to the way you understand the Bible, you decide to blame it on Adam and Eve. But that's not what the Quran teaches. That's not what Islam teaches. What the Quran teaches and what the Islam teaches is that sin originated in the world when the devil became disobedient. We don't blame Adam. We don't blame Eve. It's when the devil became disobedient. That can be found in the Quran chapter 15. When God created Adam, and then he commanded all the angels to prostrate before Adam. Then the devil refused and became disobedient. That is the origin of sin. It originated the day the devil or Satan or Lucifer, whichever way you call him, disobeyed God. And from that day, there is no sin apart from disobedience. Disobedience, because God says, do not commit adultery. You commit adultery. You disobeyed the command. If you disobey anything that God has commanded, that's where sin is. And the first of the disobeyers or the disobedient was the devil himself. And when I'm talking about disobedience, it's even like delayed obedience. You know, some people don't know that delayed obedience is tantamount to disobedience. If I tell you, bring me that cup, then you tell me, wait, I'll bring it. That is disobedience, even though you'll bring it. So we should know that it did not originate from Adam. We should not be pointing fingers at the prophets of God for no good reason. The sin originated from the devil. That's how we are taught. And the devil, in that chapter of the Quran which I was quoting, he takes a promise to God. He says that, allow me to live, and I will mislead your people from their front, from behind them, from their left, from their right. I'll be misleading them. And God said, I have given you permission, but those who truly believe in me will never follow your way. So that's where sin originated from.
Okay, our dear listener.
And there's another call.
No, you can continue.
Because there's somebody who had called and talked about the soil and clay,
okay,
and the image of God.
Okay, we have a call. Let's hold our thoughts there. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
Great. You're through to Understanding Islam. Who are we talking to?
Yeah, this is Uncle D from Senegal.
Uncle D, you can talk to the Sheikh.
Yeah, Sheikh, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Sheikh, my question is,
yes.
I don't know, but why is it? What's the difference between the Shia Muslim and the Sunni? Then the second question is that why are these people at their necks, at their throats?
Okay. The second part I've not gotten it very well. Who is the who against who on the throat? Something.
The Shia Muslims. Okay, you can try to get us again on 0977-624270 and 0211-295390. So those are the two numbers for the evening, right here on Trying to Understand Islam. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Great. Who are we talking to tonight?
This is David from Gabaran.
David, you can talk to the Sheikh.
Yes, the previous caller asked about the difference between Sunnis and the Shias. And the second question was, why are they killing it? Why is that hatred between the Sunnis and the Shias? Even in the Middle East, where there is the majority Sunnis in Saudi Arabia, they are considered the Iranians as enemies who are the majority Shia. So why? That's the same question that the previous caller there. So I want to find out why is there animosity between the two factions of the same religion.
Okay. So do we have peace in Islam?
We've got a lot of peace in Islam. And I've always been saying this, that if one Christian does a mistake, I don't condemn the entire Christian religion just because one Christian is doing a mistake. You see, the Quran, and that's why we have this program as Understanding Islam. What the Quran teaches me, I don't see the denominations anywhere in the scriptures of the Quran. So I cannot come and start talking about things that men have just brought about, like denominations, which have not been taught about by the Prophet ﷺ in the Hadith. He doesn't mention us as Sunnis or Shias or whatever you call them. And then the Quran doesn't talk about Sunnis and Shias. It talks about us being Muslims. In chapter 5 verse 3, God says that He has given us Islam as our religion. In chapter 22 verse 78, He says that He called us Muslims from even the books that were there before the Quran. So I know about Muslims, and I'm talking about Islam. If there's anything to do with Shia or Sunni, there are some people who came up with denominations. These differences, I can't say that they don't exist. But ask any of them, meet any of them, ask them, are you a Muslim? They'll say, I'm a Muslim. Who will make it bigger now? The media and whoever the information with. If some people feed the non-Muslims, they'll tell you this is a Shia Muslim or this is a Sunni Muslim. But come to the mosque, you'll find us there. Somebody will tell you, on his personal level, from the kind of teachings he has received from his scholars. I'm not talking from the scriptures. From the scriptures, it doesn't exist anywhere. You will not find that this scripture talks about the Sunni or this one is talking about the Shia. These are personal views from some earlier scholars which we are not going to deal with because I'm not one of them. I'm looking at what is in the Quran and what is in the Hadith. Now, if you come to me personally and ask me, what is your denomination? It won't change any difference with the other person who will say, but his denomination is this and that. Yet when it's time for prayer and we are both at the robots there by Bama Road, we'll both enter that mosque. It's not the case like whereby you find somebody traveling from Woodlands going to Makeni because his denomination is in the Makeni, and somebody coming from Makeni going all the way to Chelsea because his pastor is in Chelsea. No, it doesn't happen that way. Now, when they say that Sunni Muslims are fighting Shia Muslims in Iran or Iraq, how sure are we that they're saying the truth? These are political wars. For example, there are Shias here in Zambia. There are Sunnis here in Zambia. Have you ever heard them fighting? They are there in Tanzania. They are there in Malawi. Why should we go far where we don't know what is happening, yet we know exactly these people have been living at peace all the time until there something came, some political thing. Because eventually you find after the end of this war, there's a change of regime, not a change of religion. Like for example, what happened in Libya? What happened? After Gaddafi died, it was somebody else in power. After Saddam died, there was somebody else in power. So how do we mix political wars and religion?
Okay, let's see if we can get this caller here. Understanding Islam, hello? Hello, good evening. You can try again on trying to understand Islam, and of course we are definitely providing you that chance right here on live radio. Remember, it's 0977 624270 and 0211295390. A message here saying a day has 24 hours starting from midnight to midnight. Why then do we break the fast at 18? That's the first question. The second question is, what is jihad? So why do we break fast at 18? The second question is, what is jihad? And the third question is, do you get baptized as a Muslim?
Okay. Yeah, just from the questions that we are receiving, this one I really wanted to talk about, the one of the soil and clay. And then we come to this question that has just come in. Because when my brother was saying that man was not created from clay but was created from soil, I don't understand the difference between the two. It's just a matter of language. If I'm using the clay King James Version, Old King James Version, it will tell me clay. If I'm using the New International Version, it will tell me soil. So I don't see if that was actually really something to come up and say that no, man was not created from clay. Now, where there's the problem is when you say that God created man in his own image. Even here in the studio, I don't look like you, and you don't look like me. Whose image is God? And when you say spiritual, and sometimes you hear accusations that Muslims don't have the Holy Spirit, so we are not created in the image of God because we don't have the Holy Spirit. And some denominations also say some others don't have the Holy Spirit. This point of saying that we were created in the image of God, at least you would have elaborated on it. And then now, somebody said that the day begins at 0 hours, let's say midnight, and ends at midnight. No, that is according to the Gregorian calendar and Gregorian system. Look at the Bible. Every evening at 18 hours, let me use the word 18, but the timings of the Bible, the Jewish timings and the timings that we use, do not have anything to do with the Gregorian on the current clock that we have. They go with the creation. Like for example, our month changes by the sighting of the moon, not by the calendar date. That this date was set that this will be this day, this day, this day. Because when you look at the Gregorian calendar, like January comes from the name Janus, which is a male god. February comes from the name Februata, which is a female god. And this female god, because of the days, the period, the monthly period, cannot be clean for the entire 30 to 31 days. That's why they have 28 or 29 days, because she was a female god called Februata. March is coming from Mars, another god. They are all gods, and this is the kind of calendar we are using. And then these gods had to be worshipped at midnight. Ask yourself, for example, right now, if I ask you what is the time, you'll tell me it's 19 hours. But what is the time at midnight? Everybody will tell me it's 0 hours. Then go back to the village, find your grandpa that didn't go to school. Then he asks you what is the time, and then you tell him in your own language it's 0 hours. Will it make sense? Don't say it in English. And then go back to school. What is the definition of 0? Nothing. So 0 hours is because we all call it 24 hours. Have you ever seen your cell phone or your watch writing 24? There's no 24 hour in the 24 hours clock. It's 0, then 1, up to 23. 0 means nothing. And if we start now explaining why it is 0, this is another complete topic. But we had the clock that was having 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, up to 12. Then it changes. There are 12 hours of the day and 12 hours of the night. Not 6 hours half night, 6 hours half day, 6 hours half day, 6 hours half night to make a day. Because if you say that the day starts at midnight, these first 6 hours are dark. Then the next 6 hours to make it up to 12 p.m., they are during the day. It doesn't make sense. Even the creation, the nature doesn't agree with it. But if I say that my day starts in the evening at 18, the entire night, that's the beginning of the day, up to morning at around 6, the first 12 hours are finished of that day. Then the last 12 hours is when now we get into the sun, and then in the evening that day is over. We start another day. That is why if we sight the moon today, when we want to start fasting Ramadan, we won't start praying Taraweeh tomorrow. We start it today, because once 18 reaches and we sight the moon, we are in the next day. Ask the Seventh-day Adventists. They follow the Sabbath. Ask them, when does the Sabbath come? Is it at midnight? No. They'll tell you at 18 in the evening of Friday, because the day ends in the evening. When we get into dark, we are getting into a new day. Look at the time when they are saying, if at all he was crucified. We don't say that he was crucified. Why were they hurrying to take him on the cross before the evening? because that will be another day, which is not supposed to be the right day for crucifying anybody. So the days begin in the evening and end in the evening, not at midnight. This thing of the midnight is a creation that was brought by man, and for some specific reasons, which is another topic we shall come to talk about it some other day.
Let's see if we can get another caller. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
You're through to Understanding Islam. Who are we talking to? You can go ahead with your contribution or question.
Wa alaikum salam.
Since tonight we are looking about the creation. When Adam and Eve were created, God gave them a work to do in that garden. Now, when someone today being created or being born, does that person being given something to do?
Yes, my brother.
Is that the only question you have, sir?
Yes.
Okay, obviously, directly, the purpose of one's being.
According to the Quran, chapter 51, verse 56, the Quran says, mankind and jinn were not created but for one purpose, so that we might worship God. And when I talk about worshiping God, is not just about going to the mosque or going to the church, no, but living a life that will reflect our fear of God. I should not be a backbiter, I should not be a liar, I should not be a drunkard, I should not be a prostitute, I should not sin, I should not do that. All that, I should live a righteous life. And then remember to worship God. Like for Muslims, we have been prescribed 5 compulsory prayers every day. I am supposed to do that. These other things that have been given all the time with God are things that I can do. Like for example, if today I go to work in my office, I'm going there, it's part of what I'm supposed to be doing according to whoever employs me. For example, that's an example I'm giving. But God says, He has created me to worship Him. And He knows I have got to eat, I've got to do all these things. He's given me time to worship and time to go and look for food. But not to look for any kind of food, but look for food that I've found it in the right ways, not illegal ways. Because whoever eats illegal food, illegal things, or you are eating fire, that you'll be held accountable. You see, and that's why we come to the point that human beings today, nowadays, human beings that have forgotten why they were created. You'll find that some people are just obsessed with building houses, build good houses, building things, finding things for themselves, but they are forgetting to build their own graves. You know, your grave, whatever will find you in your grave, you have to start building it right now. The way you are living right now here on earth will determine the kind of life you're going to live after you get into your grave. People are building things, they forget about the grave. We find that people are so much obsessed with looking for wealth. People are looking for wealth. Even the person who founded money, do you know that he died looking for money? Yet he was the founder of money. He's the one who started, okay, this is now called money. But he died looking for it. People are looking for things, for wealth, and they forget accountability, that we shall be held accountable on the day of judgment. How did we acquire our wealth while here on earth? You find that today, people are ready to sin and they forget to repent. It's very easy to sin and very hard to repent. Somebody can sin, and it's just like a normal thing. How many times do we lie in a day? If somebody tells you to do a good thing once or twice, you feel already tired of doing it because you are ready to do things that are not right rather than do what is right. You find that people are more interested in the creation more than creator. Somebody is ready to do anything for the person they love. They are ready to do anything for their parents. They are ready to do anything for their children. They are ready to do anything for their people. But just one simple command: we are created to worship. We find it very difficult. We are more interested in pleasing the creation more than the creator. That is the problem. But we were all created for the purpose of worship.
Okay, let's see if we can get to wrap up some of these ones. We have limited time, Sheikh. This one saying, peace be with you. Do Muslims cast demons? Ken from Emmersdale.
Do Muslims cast demons?
I think it should be cast out.
Cast out demons. It depends with we have ways of dealing away with demons. But if it's making the noise and then commanding them to go out, and then the next time we meet again, we have to command them to go out again, and then next time we meet again, we have to command them to go out again. We don't do that. Muslims, we've got prayer, we've got the dua, we've got the verses of the Quran. If we read them, if a demon was somewhere and it leaves for good. Not that every week we have to cast the same demon again. It leaves you for some few hours in the church service or whatever service you're having, then the entire week, 6 days, it's there. On Sunday again, we have to cast it out. No, we don't do that. And then somebody asked, what is jihad? Jihad is I can say, some people call it holy war. But I don't call it holy war, I call it striving in the way of Allah. When it comes to become holy war, is whereby we come to the verse where it says a tooth for a tooth. But if I just come and attack you, that is not jihad. That is just criminal activity. When you hear somebody is a suicide bomber, that is not jihad. That is just a criminal activity. You know, somebody asking about jihad, definitely you are trying to find out, is there jihad, maybe let's say, in the world right now? No. We cannot say there is jihad unless if you come to take my property without any, to unlawfully, what do we call it, to take away something that belongs to me, then I decide to fight back for what is mine. That is also jihad. If I strive to live a righteous life despite the fact that my surrounding is not righteous, that is jihad. If I strive, like right now, every fasting Muslim is actually on jihad against their thirst, against their hunger. They are on jihad. That is also jihad. So if we have to explain about jihad, it's a long explanation, and I think we've got very limited time. And somebody asked, do we get baptized? No, we don't get baptized because we don't see prophets that were baptized. Even John the Baptist he wasn't baptized himself, and we don't see any prophet that was baptized. And we follow the footsteps of the prophets. In fact, he's remembered me because this baptism, I've seen it in the groups, I've seen it so many times. I think one day we shall come to see why Muslims do not get baptized.
This other one here saying, Sheikh, good evening. This is Dennis from Ngombe. Help me understand John 8 verses 58.
John 8 verse 58, whereby it says, before Abraham I am. I think that's the verse that our brother wants us to. Jesus said, truly I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. Most people that actually look at this verse, they take the word I am. And by taking the word I am, they want to refer to Exodus chapter 3, where God told Moses, I am whom I am. But that is just figurative language. That does not make Jesus God. Because I know that's where we are heading to by saying you want to understand. When you say before Abraham, I am, if you look even in the book of Ephesians chapter 1 verses 3 up to 4, even me and you, we were there before Abraham. Everybody was there. Ephesians chapter 1 verses 3 up to 4, it says that we were there before the foundations of the world. So when Jesus says that he was there before before Abraham, I don't see if he's making him any God or any higher than any other prophet. No, it's just that he's trying to show us the spiritual, because we all know the Bible, and even us, we know the person of Jesus was born after Mary. Just like me and you were born during this century, this time of the calendar. That's where we were born. But the Bible in Ephesians chapter 1 verses 3 says that God already blessed us before the foundations of the world. We were already there. What was there? We were there spiritually according to the biblical language. The same way Jesus was there spiritually according to the biblical language. But it doesn't make him God.
Okay. Understanding Islam. Hello? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Great. Who are we talking to tonight?
I'm talking to Pastor Mubanga.
Pastor Mubanga, you can talk to the Sheikh.
Yeah, I was just wanted to respond to my brother what you're saying about the Islam, but the specific on the the last explanation was just given.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes. You know, that's where the difference comes with Islam. knowing what you're saying, they're speaking a very good thing. But when you talk, you're trying to clarify that when Jesus said, "Before Abraham, I am," that is correct. That is the meaning is for us Christians and others, maybe Jesus is God. Why is he God? We also say that he's the Son. What God did, he created the body. Okay? Then God being a spirit, the same God you say Allah or whatever name, that God now came and dwelled in Jesus. So when we say Jesus was created, yes, that one you are looking at was created, but what was God was that was inside him. That's why Jesus said, "My Father liveth in me." So that's what you should understand, my brother.
Okay. Pastor, would you want to... Hello, Pastor?
Yes, please.
Would you want to come one day through to the studio? And
no problem, no problem.
Okay, you can, we'll get your number, or probably you can get the Sheikh's number.
Okay, give me.
Okay.
Oh, you can get my number, 0976.
Okay.
130.
130.
177.
177. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, you're welcome. And also take your number so that we can communicate and make the plan for the way forward.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay, so there you go. That is the way we do get almost concluding for this particular evening. But I know we have a lot of messages that did come through. Sheikh, as we are wrapping up the topic for the night, a brief summary on the package tonight.
Okay, a brief one. One thing I'd just like to say is Jesus, because I've seen that we are now coming somewhere next again to start saying what the pastor just concluded by saying Jesus was God. I'm looking at the creation, Jesus, now the creator being Jesus himself. I think that's why we need some time to be with him in the studio. At least he can have more airtime to elaborate on this. But as far as that is concerned, whether Jesus is God or not, I will be surprised why in John chapter 17 verse 3 Jesus says, "This is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent." He's talking to God. He's not teaching to the disciples. He was talking to God. According to John 17:3:1, chapter 17 verse 1, he says Jesus lifted his eyes up and he started praying. When you find God praying, he's praying to who? When he's God himself. It means that there was God that Jesus was praying to. Now, if you look at Acts chapter 7 verse 55 up to verse 56, it's putting Jesus as the Son of Man standing on the right hand side of God. Unless maybe if you have more than one God, then the second God can be Jesus. But if there's only one God that we all worship, then Jesus was sent by God. Although I know we shall talk with the pastor, maybe when we come to the studio, that can be the topic, so that we look at it both together, looking in the books. Now, to wind up, let me just say, the main purpose that we were created, because people started calling before I got there, is that God created us so that we might worship him, and worship him alone, without associating partners with him, or without making others gods beside him.
There you go, dear listener. Remember that you too can also be a part of the program next week when we do get hitting it 18 hours. Remember, it comes to you every Wednesday. Just as a reminder, where can they get to meet you, Sheikh, during the week? And also about the group, how can someone be a part of the WhatsApp group?
Okay, you can be part of the WhatsApp group whereby we are having discussions the entire week, and people asking questions, we are interacting. If you want to join the WhatsApp group, just send a message asking to be added on the WhatsApp group to this number on WhatsApp, 0976 130 177. Just send a message that you want to be added, or any question on concerning understanding Islam. Any question that gets into this number automatically gives you a ticket into the group, because that's where you'll get answers, and also you'll interact. We'll find other questions and more explanations on these things that will help you understand Islam. So if you want to be added on the group, it's 0976 130 177. That is the same number you can call for more information in case you feel like maybe you're not even on WhatsApp, but you have a personal question you'd like to ask on understanding Islam. You also call the same number, 0976 130 177. or SMS your concern. And for those who have been texting, as you know, there are so many people that have been texting. Sometimes I even take up to 2 days before I reach to some messages. By the time I got in on the studio today, I was having 2018 messages. So when you see I've delayed, it doesn't mean I've ignored. At least for some people, they can, those who have already communicated to, they can tell you that it took about 2 or 3 days before I got to their message. But eventually, I get to everybody's message. I can't overlook any message. Only what I do, I start from the oldest. So if you send today, don't expect that I might reach your message immediately because you sent today. There are somebody who sent a message maybe yesterday or a day before yesterday. I have to start with the oldest before I come to the ones that are coming. But if you have a quick one that you really want a response, quick response, it can be a direct message or a call. But for the WhatsApp, it's better that you send a message. I add you in the group. That one will be better. There are more scholars in the group. No, I'm not the only one there. There are other scholars who will help you. There are also pastors in the group. Ben also said welcome. He said thank you for adding me in the group. Well, welcome, Ben. And also we have another pastor. I don't know where he disappeared. He's only sending us verses, but he's not telling us anything about the verses. But we appreciate the verses. You are continuing to teach us and enlighten us because we don't reject the scriptures. Anybody else can join us. And for those who still want the copy of the Quran, I remember Collins at Bama Mosque. I have not been there. I'll pass by Bama Mosque tomorrow, inshallah. God willingly, I'll bring you a copy of the translation of the Quran because he called me, told me he's very busy, he can't make it to our offices. But those others, others you have communicated from Chilulu, there's somebody already having your Quran. I gave him your number. You'll receive a call anytime. I gave him today. So you're going to get it. There's a person who called us from Chilulu and couldn't make it to town. And one from 10 miles. I'm also making arrangements of how you'll get it. But the others, you can call if you're far. But those who are near, you can reach us at Kafue Road, behind Castle Supermarket. You can pay us a visit at our offices that are just behind Castle Supermarket. If that place is far, you can visit Live Radio offices because they also have the copies of the Quran, and you'll receive your copy of the Quran, inshallah. And may the peace of God be upon you. Till next time, have a good time.
The Islamic Supreme Council of Zambia is a non-profitable organization